What if the most beautiful country on Earth wasn't one you had to imagine, but one that already exists, quietly waiting to be seen? This is Canada, a land of impossible contrast, where icy tundras meet rain-soaked forests, where golden prairies stretch into snow-capped peaks, and where islands hold castles and rivers reverse direction. You've heard the name, you've seen the photos, but you haven't truly felt Canada, not like this. In this journey, we'll take you across 15 of the country's most stunning, soul-stirring destinations. Some are world-famous for good reason, others are quiet, hidden places most travelers never even hear about. From polar bears under the northern lights to waves crashing into 800-year-old rainforest, from turquoise glacial lakes to the deepest tides on Earth, this is Canada, unfiltered, raw, and real. So settle in, because once you see what this country holds, you won't look at Canada, or the world, the same way again. In the heart of Alberta's Rocky Mountains lies a place that seems too perfect to be real. Welcome to Banff and Lake Louise, the epicenter of Canada's alpine beauty. Lake Louise is like a dream that's been turned into water. The glacier-fed lake glows a brilliant turquoise, framed by jagged peaks and the towering Victoria Glacier. Early morning is when the magic unfolds. The water becomes glass, reflecting the mountains like a living painting. The air is crisp, the silence complete. Paddle across the lake in a red canoe, the quintessential Canadian experience. Each stroke takes you deeper into stillness, past forests of spruce and larch, beneath the watching peaks. If you're up for a hike, the Plain of Six Glaciers Trail leads into the high alpine, where avalanches thunder in the distance and ice clings to the cliffs year-round. The Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise, sitting regally on the lakeshore, isn't just a hotel. It's a portal into nature. Step outside and you're in one of the world's great wildernesses. In winter, the lake freezes into a perfect skating rink, with snow-covered trails for cross-country skiing and ice sculptures glowing under lanterns. Just a short drive away is Banff Town, a cozy mountain hub with rustic lodges, steaming hot springs, and cafes perfect for warming up after a snowy hike. Ride the Banff gondola to the summit of Sulphur Mountain, and you'll find yourself standing above the clouds, looking out over a panorama of snow-covered ranges. This is where nature gets personal. Banff and Lake Louise aren't just beautiful, they're overwhelming, in the best way. Further north along the Icefields Parkway, the road winds through high passes and glacier-cut valleys until it reaches Jasper, Canada's wildest Rocky Mountain park. Jasper is massive. It's quieter than Banff, less commercial, and far more rugged. This is where mountains go to breathe. Untouched, vast, and silent. Here, solitude is easy to find, and beauty is everywhere. One of the park's highlights is the Columbia Icefield, a massive sheet of ancient ice spilling down from the peaks. Walk the surface of the Athabasca Glacier, or view it from the Glacier Skywalk, a glass platform suspended high above the valley floor. Jasper is also home to Moraine Lake, a long, narrow stretch of turquoise water guarded by towering mountains. Its jewel is Spirit Island, a tiny grove of trees that seems to float in the middle of the lake, one of Canada's most iconic scenes. Canoe, or take a boat cruise to see it up close. Don't miss Moraine Canyon, where rushing waterfalls carve deep into limestone. In winter, the canyon freezes into a world of ice, where adventurous visitors hike through snow and shadow to see frozen falls and crystal walls. Jasper is also one of the best stargazing spots on Earth. As a designated dark sky preserve, its night skies are untouched by city light. Lay back and watch the Milky Way stretch overhead, or come during the annual Jasper Dark Sky Festival for a celestial experience like no other. Jasper whispers where other parks shout. It doesn't compete for your attention, it earns it, quietly, powerfully, and permanently. Off Canada's west coast, across from Vancouver, lies a land where wild rainforest meets the open Pacific. Welcome to Vancouver Island, a lush coastal paradise that feels like another world. The island's crown jewel is Tofino, a laid-back surf town on the island's western edge. Here the sea rolls in with thunderous waves and ancient cedar forests reach the ocean's edge. The Wild Pacific Trail offers breathtaking views of rocky coastlines, sea stacks, and storm-lashed headlands. A short drive inland brings you to Cathedral Grove, a sanctuary of giant Douglas firs and red cedars. Some trees are over 800 years old, towering silently in a misty world of ferns and filtered light. Walking through this forest feels like stepping into another era, or another planet. The wildlife here is extraordinary. Kayak with orcas in Johnstone Strait, where black fins slice through silver waters. Watch for black bears fishing along riverbanks or bald eagles soaring overhead. Even the food reflects the land. Wild salmon, hand-foraged mushrooms, fresh oysters. Vancouver Island is deeply local, and deeply connected to its surroundings. This is a place that doesn't overwhelm with drama. It captures you with mood, detail, and depth. It's quiet, powerful, and unforgettable. High in Canada's north lies a territory most people never see, the Yukon. It's a land of silence, sky, and space, a place where the road ends and wonder begins. Come in winter and you'll find nights filled with the shimmering dance of the northern lights. Greens, purples, and blues ripple across the sky, reflected in snow-covered valleys below. The experience is surreal. No camera can do it justice. In summer, the sun barely sets. The land is bathed in golden light and wildflowers carpet the valleys. You can hike for days in the Tombstone Mountains, where jagged peaks rise above colorful tundra, or paddle down the Yukon River, retracing the path of gold rush prospectors and indigenous peoples who have traveled it for centuries. In Dawson City, time seems frozen. Wooden boardwalks, saloon-style buildings, and frontier spirit live on in this quirky historic town. But the Yukon's true treasure is its scale, its silence, its space to breathe, think, and reconnect. If you crave the untouched, the wild, and the deeply real, the Yukon delivers, like nowhere else. In Canada's east, the province of Quebec offers a striking contrast to the Wild West. Here, European charm and Canadian wilderness collide, creating one of the most culturally rich and visually stunning places in the country. Start in Old Quebec City, where stone streets, castle-like hotels, and French architecture make you feel like you've stepped into a different continent. The Chateau Frontenac towers above the St. Lawrence River, and horse-drawn carriages still clip along cobblestone roads. But Quebec's true wonders lie beyond the city walls. Head to the Charlevoix region, where cliffs rise above the St. Lawrence and quiet villages cling to the hillsides. Drive the Route de Fleuve, one of the most scenic roads in Canada, where each turn reveals a new view of sea, mountains, or rolling farmland. Further north lies the Saguenay Fjord, a dramatic waterway carved by glaciers, lined with vertical cliffs and dense forest. Kayak beneath towering rock faces, watch beluga whales swim beneath your boat, or hike to a viewpoint like Cap Trinity for vistas that will stay with you forever. Quebec is also a province of flavor: tourtière meat pies, poutine, artisan cheeses, and maple everything. The food here is deeply local, rooted in French-Canadian heritage. From the quiet romance of riverside villages to the grandeur of historic cities, Quebec invites you to slow down, listen, and explore its rich layers. At the eastern edge of Nova Scotia lies Cape Breton Island, a rugged, windswept land that feels both ancient and alive. It's a place where cliffs drop straight into the sea, where music spills from old barns, and where every road leads to something magical. The centerpiece of it all is the Cabot Trail, a 300-kilometer coastal loop that's widely considered one of the most scenic drives on Earth. It winds through forested mountains, skirts dramatic coastlines, and climbs to panoramic lookouts where the Atlantic seems to stretch into forever. Stop in Ingonish, where waves crash beneath red cliffs, or hike the Skyline Trail, a boardwalk path that leads to a jaw-dropping headland overlooking the Gulf of St. Lawrence. If you're lucky, you might spot moose in the trees or whales breaching offshore. Cape Breton is rich in Gaelic culture brought by Scottish settlers in the 18th century. In villages like Mabou and Judique, traditional fiddles still play at Caelids, joyful community gatherings where music, dance, and hospitality come alive. The island's soul is everywhere, in its music, in the salt-scented air, and in the people who call it home. Whether you're watching sunset from a clifftop or sipping tea beside a lighthouse, Cape Breton leaves its mark slowly and deeply. Ontario is often associated with cities like Toronto or Ottawa, but venture north, and you'll find a wilder world, one of misty lakes, endless forest, and quiet encounters with wildlife. The heart of it all is Algonquin Provincial Park, a massive wilderness of over 7,500 square kilometers, filled with rivers, trails, and more than 2,000 lakes. In the early morning, fog drifts across the water, and the haunting call of a loon echoes through the trees. Paddle a canoe into the mist and you'll feel time slow down. Hike trails like Centennial Ridges or Lookout Trail for sweeping views of red-gold autumn forests, or explore deeper into the backcountry, where you might spot moose feeding at the water's edge, beavers building dams, or wolves howling in the distance. In winter, Algonquin transforms into a snow-draped wilderness. Cross-country ski through pine corridors, snowshoe frozen lakes, or simply warm up by a fire in a lakeside cabin. Beyond Algonquin, other forests like Killarney and Temagami offer similar magic. With their pink granite cliffs and ancient pine stands, these places are wild, raw, and beautifully Canadian. This is Ontario's best-kept secret: endless forest, endless stillness, and nature that asks you to listen. At the edge of Quebec, where mountains meet the ocean, the Gaspe Peninsula offers one of Canada's most underrated coastal escapes. It's rugged, remote, and unbelievably scenic. The star of the show is Perce Rock, a towering limestone formation rising from the Gulf of St. Lawrence. At low tide, you can walk right up to its base. At high tide, it becomes an island, mysterious and majestic. Nearby, take a boat to Bonaventure Island, home to one of the world's largest colonies of northern gannets. Thousands of seabirds swirl above, nesting on cliffs, their cries filling the salty air. It's nature in full volume. For adventure, head into Forillon National Park, where trails like Les Graves wind along coastal cliffs and dense boreal forest. Look out over the Atlantic, and you might spot seals, whales, or even a black bear roaming the shore. The Gaspe feels like the end of the world, in the best way. It's quiet, powerful, and deeply connected to land and sea. Far up in Manitoba, along the shores of Hudson Bay, lies a town with fewer than 1,000 people, and more polar bears than you can count. This is Churchill, the polar bear capital of the world. Each fall, as the ice begins to form, hundreds of polar bears migrate through the tundra, waiting for the sea to freeze. Special tundra vehicles let visitors get safely close to these majestic creatures, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But Churchill isn't just about bears. In summer, thousands of beluga whales swim up the Churchill River, kayak beside them. Listen to their clicks and songs. It's pure magic. In winter, Churchill becomes one of the best places on Earth to see the northern lights. With long nights and clear skies, the aurora dances overhead almost nightly. Green ribbons, purple waves, shimmering silence. Small, remote, and extreme, Churchill offers a front-row seat to the raw power of nature. It's a place of ice, light, and awe. Tucked between the busy parks of Banff and Jasper lie two quieter gems, Yoho and Kootenay. These lesser-known national parks hold some of the most stunning scenery in the Rockies, without the crowds. In Yoho, visit Emerald Lake, where the water glows green beneath a backdrop of jagged peaks. Paddle, hike, or just sit, the silence here is golden. Nearby, Takaka Falls plunges from the cliffs in a thundering 380-meter cascade, one of Canada's tallest waterfalls. For a brush with deep time, hike to the Burgess Shale, where perfectly preserved fossils from 500 million years ago reveal the secrets of early life on Earth. In Kootenay, drive the scenic Banff-Windermere Highway, stopping at Marble Canyon, Paint Pots, and natural hot springs nestled between rock walls. The park is a blend of mountain drama and quiet discovery. These parks are hidden in plain sight, just waiting for those willing to look a little deeper, and when you do, the reward is unforgettable. Leave the forests and mountains behind and drive east into Alberta's Badlands, where the land turns strange, dry, and ancient. This is a world carved by time and shaped by water, where the earth reveals its oldest secrets. The town of Drumheller is the heart of the region. Here you'll find the Royal Tyrrell Museum, home to one of the world's most impressive collections of dinosaur fossils. Skeletons of massive creatures like the Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops tower above you, echoes of a time long gone. But the real experience begins outdoors. Walk the Hoodoo's Trail, where bizarre stone pillars rise from the ground like frozen flames. These hoodoos are created by centuries of erosion, their layers of sandstone, clay, and coal etched with the passage of time. The surrounding canyons feel otherworldly, red, dry, and whispering with wind. A short drive away is Dinosaur Provincial Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the richest dinosaur fossil sites in the world. The park's sculpted landscape offers surreal beauty, rolling badlands, fossil beds, and lookout points that make you feel like you've stepped into Earth's prehistoric past. As the sun sets over the cliffs, the red earth glows with warmth, casting long shadows and turning the land into a Martian dream. In the Alberta Badlands, you don't just look at history, you stand inside it. Canada's smallest province may be easy to miss on the map, but Prince Edward Island, or PEI, offers some of the country's most charming, peaceful scenery. Red sand beaches, rolling green hills, and lighthouses perched on bluffs. This is rural Canada at its most poetic. Begin in Charlottetown, the island's capital and the birthplace of Canadian Confederation. Its streets are lined with heritage buildings, cozy cafes, and vibrant markets. But PEI's true magic lies along its shore. Drive the Central Coastal Drive to discover Cavendish Beach, where sandstone cliffs rise above sweeping white sand. Visit Green Gables, the house that inspired the classic novel Anne of Green Gables, and walk Lover's Lane. A trail so peaceful it feels like it belongs in a dream. The island's coastline is dotted with red cliffs and lighthouses, perfect for sunset strolls. In places like North Rustico or Souris, you'll find working harbors where fishing boats bring in fresh lobster daily, often served within hours, right on the dock. Cycle the Confederation Trail, a former railway that runs across the island, passing through fields, forests, and seaside villages. Life here moves slowly with intention and heart. PEI isn't about thrill, it's about stillness, beauty, and the gentle feeling that you've found something pure. Between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia lies one of nature's greatest tricks, the Bay of Fundy, home to the highest tides in the world. Twice a day, over 160 billion tons of water move in and out, creating a phenomenon you have to see to believe. Visit Hopewell Rocks, where towering flowerpot formations rise from the sea floor. At low tide, you can walk along the ocean bottom, gazing up at these sculpted pillars. Just a few hours later, they're surrounded by water, the ocean having returned like a tide-fed ghost. In Fundy National Park, hike past waterfalls and through old-growth forests. Watch as the tide rushes into narrow coves and over muddy flats, or travel to Burnt Coat Head, the official record holder for the highest tide on Earth. For an adrenaline rush, try tidal bore rafting on the Shubenacadie River, where the incoming tide forms a wave strong enough to reverse the river's flow, creating a muddy, wild ride unlike anything else. The Bay of Fundy is a place where water moves mountains, where time can be measured in waves, and where the ocean vanishes, then returns. British Columbia's Sea-to-Sky Highway is more than a road. It's one of the most breathtaking coastal drives on Earth. Stretching from Vancouver to Whistler, this route climbs from the Pacific Ocean into the snowy heart of the Coast Mountains. Start at Horseshoe Bay, where ferry boats glide across glassy water. Head north and cliffs begin to rise on one side while the ocean sparkles on the other. Stop at Porteau Cove, a peaceful waterfront park perfect for watching sunsets or scuba divers exploring the depths below. Next, visit Shannon Falls, where water cascades down nearly 340 meters in a roaring spray. Nearby, the Sea-to-Sky gondola lifts you high above the treetops to panoramic views of Howe Sound, alpine meadows, and the jagged peaks of Garibaldi Provincial Park. In Squamish, rock climbers scale the Stowamus Chief, a massive granite face that towers over town. Hikers, meanwhile, follow forested trails to quiet lookouts where eagles soar and rivers twist through the valley. End your journey in Whistler, a four-season resort that offers skiing, mountain biking, and access to the Peak to Peak gondola, a jaw-dropping ride between mountaintops with a glass-bottomed view. This is where mountain meets ocean, where every turn reveals something new, and where the road itself is the adventure. In the St. Lawrence River, between Ontario and New York, lies a place out of a fairy tale. The Thousand Islands. With more than 1,800 islands scattered across clear blue water, each one holds its own charm. Some are little more than rocks with a single pine tree, others host mansions, forests, or even castles. Take a boat tour from Gananoque or Rockport, and you'll pass by Bolt Castle, an opulent island palace built in the early 1900s as a monument to love, then abandoned after tragedy struck. Today, it's restored and open for exploration, with gardens, towers, and tales of romance and sorrow. Nearby, Singer Castle offers its own story, filled with secret passageways, medieval architecture, and stone walls rising from the river itself. In between, paddle by kayak through narrow channels, past hidden coves, and beneath the shadows of towering trees. Visit Thousand Islands National Park, where camping spots and hiking trails offer close encounters with the region's tranquil beauty. As the sun sets over the water, the islands glow gold, the river quiets, and the world feels a little more like magic. You've just traveled from alpine peaks to red cliffs, polar bear country to castle-filled rivers. Canada is a country of breathtaking contrasts, and this was only the beginning. If this journey inspired you to explore, dream, or simply see the world with new eyes, subscribe now to our channel. Every week we uncover new destinations, hidden wonders, and unforgettable places from every corner of the earth. Leave a comment below. Where do you want us to explore next? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next adventure.